Virtually everyone has experienced the pain and drama of poor team communications. As a corporate trainer, I've worked with many teams, helping them enhance their communications and ultimately improve team results. Here are just a few of the most common mistakes I've seen teams make, along with a few recommendations to help your team communicate more effectively. Mistake number one: failing to customize communication mode to the receiver. Most of us know that there are people who you can email all day, but you're not going to get a response until you actually pick up the phone and call them. Or there are those that hate the phone and much prefer text or instant message. We intuitively know this, but unfortunately, too often we don't think about these preferences. Instead, our natural tendency is to default to our own preferred communication mode as the sender. So if you're someone like me who much prefers email, you're more likely to overuse email. My recommendation: it's more effective to identify each team member's preferred communication mode and consciously use it when you're communicating with them. How do you find out each person's preferred mode? Just ask. Or another great method is the four walls team communication activity. For this activity, just label each wall with a different communication mode: face-to-face, phone, email, and text. Then ask team members to walk to the wall that represents their preferred mode. Then each wall group discusses their preferences in more detail. Mistake number two: overusing email. I love email as much as the next person, but overusing it can definitely cause problems. Instead of defaulting to email for virtually all communications, my recommendation to teams is that they not use email if a communication is either complicated, sensitive, or urgent. Let's take a look at each one. If it's complicated, email can complicate the situation even more. Save yourself some time long term, avoid the email back and forth, and just conduct a face-to-face meeting or even a phone call to discuss the complexities of the issue. Then follow up via email if necessary to confirm. If an issue is sensitive or emotion charged, email is also a poor choice. Oftentimes, people are more put off by how they were communicated with than the actual content of the message. I've known people who were laid off by their company in such a respectful and personalized manner that they left still feeling quite good about the company and their separation. But then I've also known others who were more upset about the way they were laid off than with the actual job loss. One friend in particular told me that they received an email from their company announcing that the company would be conducting random layoffs throughout the summer. So if an employee's login and ID and password no longer worked, they should just pack it up and walk to the end of the hall where HR would be waiting. Yikes! That is the professional equivalent of being broken up with on a post-it. Finally, if the issue is time sensitive, relying on email is dangerous at best. Call, text, or instant message to alert the person to the issue immediately so they have an opportunity to address it in a timely manner. Mistake number three: vague action items. Have you ever experienced what I call meeting deja vu? This is where you're in a meeting or discussion and an issue is raised and someone says they'll follow up on it, then the discussion moves to another topic. Then, a few days or weeks later, the same group assembles and the same issue is raised, and someone on the team scratches their head and says, "Hey, didn't we talk about that last month? Wasn't somebody supposed to get that information and send it out to the team?" So what happens is the same issues, instead of being resolved, keep getting recycled through various discussions, meetings, and conference calls. The problem is that action items must be actively managed to be effective. Once an item is identified that requires follow-up, it should be defined as follows with these three components: task, owner, and due date. First, document the task with a specific verb that defines the action. It may read, email the vendor shortlist to the team. Secondly, identify a clear owner and get verbal confirmation from them that they accept the action item. And then finally, you want to ask the owner to propose the due date. Don't suggest a date yourself. Asking the owner to propose the due date significantly increases the likelihood that the task will be completed on time. So that same action item now becomes email the vendor shortlist to the team by December 15th, 2017, owner Bob. These are just a few of the many communication mistakes so many teams make. Don't become one of them. Learn more about our team development or communication workshops today. We can cover topics like the importance of active listening, using 3 magic questions to clarify task assignment, adopting communication best practices to avoid misunderstandings and team dysfunction, communicating and collaborating best practices for multi-generational teams, using team charters and ground rules to help get your team on the same page, tips for managing those difficult conversations, and the importance of communications during times of change. Most importantly, this won't be another one of those dreadfully boring presentations or training sessions where you'd rather watch paint dry. Whether you're interested in a presentation for a conference or lunch and learn, or a half or full day training workshop, the session will be highly interactive and packed with practical tips that participants can begin using immediately. Contact us today at info@professionalismmatters.com or 678-777-7188.